Trish, you're going to have to silence those phones, or is that yours? Okay, everyone, this is Darcy Hoffman, and this is going to be a short and sweet webinar, but we're going to talk about the plan that we were sold. So when we are out there recruiting, when we are actually working to build our own success in business, there's a little thing happening inside of us that we don't quite understand, and we're going to learn about that today. It's literally an opposing voice to your success, and it's a strange concept, but hopefully I'll get it transferred to you today so you kind of understand what's going on. Sometimes when you go out there and you meet somebody that's super sharp, amazing, has great potential, they get started with Legal Shield and they don't produce. Maybe you're one of them. Maybe you've recruited one of them. So let's look at what is going on. And this is the plan that we were sold. You can see grades 1 through 12 in the blue. Then we're told in kindergarten to, stand in line and sit in our seat, and the bell rings, we can get up, raise your hand if you want to talk, and if you're really good, you'll pass and go to first grade. In first grade you pass. If you do the same thing, stand in line, do what they say, conform, pass your test, you move on to second grade, and that's your reward. You're taught to follow what they say, think how they teach you to think, read what they teach you to read, follow the pages of the book, read from 20 to 30, and this is your assignment and quiz on Friday. You're told when you're going to have a quiz. You're told all of the stipulations, when the exam is going to be, when the test is done, when the report is due, all those things. And if you do well with all those deadlines, you can then go on to the next grade. So we were taught from K through 12th grade that the purpose of education is to get into college. And then we were taught, then the purpose of college is to get a job so you can work for 40 years, be secure, and then retire. The problem with this training is that the system we grew up with is a mess. It's falling apart at the seams, and a lot of people are in pain because the things we were taught are not working anymore. We have been victims, pawns in a senseless system that uses up or undervalues our purpose and potential. So it's time to stop complying with that system and develop our own plan for success. Stop settling for what's good enough and start discovering a life that matters. That is when you begin to release your potential. Now, for hundreds of years, the population has been seduced, even scammed, and brainwashed into fitting in, following instructions, and exchanging a day's work for a day's pay. So from kindergarten to 12th grade, they teach us to stay in line, sit in the desk, change the room when the bell rings, cram in the information to pass the test. You do all this so you can graduate, go to college, and finally get a job. But how well is that system working? Good. Let's go to the next slide. Now, you've seen this slide before, but I just can't bring it up enough. This literally is the census documentation of the last 40 years, and you can see in the it's a 40-year snapshot of, and let me say this again, household incomes. 2 people, everyone in a house, all of the income combined, this is what they're making. 50% of the people are making $50,000 or less. Household incomes. 2 people, or all the people in a household. Notice the orange and the blue lines at the bottoms. They show that the income of 50%, tops out at the $51,900. And then notice that for 40 years, their income has basically stayed the same. So you can see straight lines for the last 40 years. There's not a lot of growth. The red and the purple, you can see growth. So what are they doing that's different than the other 2 lines, the blue and the orange? Because the red and the purple kind of have a little bit of movement up. So they're moving into the uncomfortable zone. They're expanding themselves. They're increasing their skill sets. They're literally breaking out of the concept that I'm going to just do whatever fit in. And this is kind of a strange, when we go out to the marketplace and we have this model, this this model that allows you to market a product, so you have personal sales, allows you to have management income in case you want to develop and train others to sell as well, and then you get a residual. What's residual? Don't know what that is. They didn't teach me that in school because I was taught to exchange my hour or my week for hourly pay or salary. So that's the exchange. That's what you do. That's what you've been trained. So if you remember the previous slide, 12 years of the public education system, or the first 12 years of school, and then the college, and you may have gone on to graduate school. So you may have more than 6 years. You may have 8 years or 10 years, and all of that education has literally taught you this idea that your success is outside of yourself. Your success is dependent on a company paying you, because the entire system is saying pass that test to get into college, pass those tests to get a good job, pass those tests at the job, perform and do these qualifications to get a raise that is minimal every year, those things. And so you don't really think about what you're worth. You don't detach from the system because the system has taught you to follow instructions. So it's this very subtle and strange thing going on. And there's this book called Linchpin, and it teaches that the system teaches you what you need to do to get a job. What they do not teach you is how to be a leader. So according to the author of the book, Linchpin, there are two things they should teach in school. One, how to solve problems. And this is the biggest thing I work on with my kids. As a parent, I wanted my kids to have critical thinking skills, the ability to think outside the box, the ability to ask themselves, is what I'm being taught effective for my life? Is what I'm being taught the thing that I should do? Does this fit for the way I was designed, the way God created me? Does this, because if you tell a fish to climb a tree their whole life, though the fish will think it's a failure, because a fish was never designed to climb a tree. So it would be so frustrated its whole life. So that little fish that's meant to swim and go through the water and live in that environment is outside of its environment, so it's not prospering. There's the problem, because maybe you are that person in a system that was telling you to be something that you're not. So you're maybe you're outside the box, but you haven't been trained to think or even ask yourself the right questions. And so the how to solve problems is the first thing. Second thing that they, according to the author of this book, that they should teach us in school is how to be a leader, how to solve problems, and how to be a leader. Now, because of the system you're trained up in, it is like there are two voices inside you struggling to rule. One is telling you to be a leader you were created to be. The other one is telling you to be the follower that the system trains you to be. That is your battle. So let's go to slide 3. Are you a leader trapped in a follower? So this is a movie that you see here. The movie is called The Man in the Iron Mask, and it tells us the story of a cruel king, which is the guy on the right, who has an identical twin brother, and to protect his throne, he imprisons this identical twin brother in a castle with his face hidden behind an iron mask. That's the brother on the left. Now, the cruel king, the twin brother that's the king, rules the kingdom harshly, and people are forced to suffer hunger and poverty. But 3 valor musketeers who are against the cruel king learn the secret about the good twin brother and develop a plan to switch the twins and put the present king in captivity behind the mask, and the good king out in, to rule the people. Though the man in the iron mask is the son of a king, when the mask comes off, he has the behavior of an imprisoned animal. Now, the question I want you to think about today is, what is the truth about that captive brother? What is the truth about the man behind the iron mask? What is the truth about you? Are you behind the mask about that? Are you trapped behind the mindsets of K through 12th grade and then college and everything they taught you, that your purpose is to follow instructions and get a job, and that's, or the people you are, think of the people on your team, why they kind of have a hard time to self-employ and to discipline themselves, to wake up and have the right habits. They weren't taught self-employment. They were taught to get a job and follow those rules. So they need to adjust in their thinking. So anyways, going back to the story, there's a king trapped inside the imprisoned captive. He just needs training and coaching to develop new mindsets, new truths, new behaviors. The king. You must train yourself to think like a king to be one. So over time, the three musketeers drew out the leader that was inside the cave. So that story explains that inside of us is this captive leader, this leader waiting to come out. And when the leader comes out, the people, meaning you, enjoy food, prosperity, and peace because you're literally operating at your full potential. So let's go to the next slide. So the truth is there is something in you waiting to come out. There is something in that seed that is bursting and wanting to come out. But there's another voice that's saying, follow the rules. And that's why it's uncomfortable when you go out in this new model called Freedom Enterprise. This new model that says you can earn what you're worth. You can sell as much, you can recruit as much, you can train other people, you can build a team, you can learn the skills of that, you can network, you can get referrals, you can do all of these things that build your freedom and your breaking free of the captivity that you were in. But you must know the truth that you were designed to prosper. You were designed to be a person of value. And the most important thing for all of us on this phone is to actually add value to the communities that we're in. If you increase the way that you go out to the community, you start to ask yourself, forget about that that system, that little voice that keeps wanting you to go back to that, things like the words like security and you need a job and all those kind of things. You can create your own job if you think, I am employed by me. So I do have a job. I'm the boss of me. So boss, tell me what to do. And then you lay that out literally like a job description. If that's what you need to first step out of your lack of production into production, is literally employ yourself. Start telling yourself what is expected of you on a daily basis, and then perform according to the job based on the fact that that's what a person is used to. So you could actually do that for yourself and set up your own job description. But the key is, let's go to the next slide. What matters most is how you see yourself. So you see in this little picture here, you see a little kitty looking into the mirror and seeing just a little kitty. Then you see the little kitten looking into the mirror and seeing a lion. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see what your present state is, your past 10 years, 20 years of income? Do you say that's all that's in there? I'm only capable of that? Or like the man in the iron mask, though he didn't have the skill sets today, though when he took off his mask, he didn't even know how to eat or walk or talk like a king. But a king was hidden inside, and it just needed that development. It needed to be pulled out so the king could emerge. So let's just talk about any of the, this is kind of an open call today, and then we're going to go over to some polling questions. We have some polling questions based on what you are learning today and have been on the webinars. This is kind of a deep thing for you to think about and say, do I have another voice talking to me a lot? Is this when somebody says, what is Legal Shield? What's that? And they don't even understand what you're doing. How does that feel? Does that feel weird to you? Does that feel like, what? I want to run. I don't like this. I want to go where everybody else is conformed and everybody accepts that's okay to get that job, get that weekly salary, get that, benefit package, all those kind of things that they think are the way to do. But you're talking to somebody that has not asked the right questions to themselves. So if you start asking questions to yourself, is that system working? And Trish, go back to the second slide. The reality is no, No, it is not. And I'm going to show a slide this Monday on that leadership show that literally shows you not only is the reality bad on the income side, but the debt everyone has, the average net worth of a person following this system, that's unbelievable too. So we have to say it's not working. That's the first step. Because the first step is to realize this is a problem and I'm not going to follow that anymore. The second step is, oh, now what do I do? If that's not working, what do I do? How do I take charge and develop the skills of a king that's inside of me and contribute to the community and contribute with the value of protecting families and companies and things like that? How does that happen? How do I transfer myself from an employee-minded person to an entrepreneur, CEO-minded person and develop the fruit of a king? So let's open that up for some discussion, and then we're going to do a few polling questions. So pay our lines, but if you can see if anyone can talk, I'm calling CJ to get started. CJ, have you recruited anyone that you've seen great potential in? Does this relate to you yourself, that you now when I say this to you and you realize, wow, I never realized that little voice that has been taught to me since I was in kindergarten to follow a system is really conflicting with me owning my own company and going out there. Can you comment on that, please?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for sharing this. I love that slide with the man in the iron mask. I think it's extremely powerful. No, it does not pertain to me at all. I wake up every day knowing that I'm going to, accomplish the day and tackle it. I know exactly what I need to do to get the job done. But I can't say the same for, a lot of associates that join the business. I also can't really say the same for my own family because they are of the mindset of security and 9 to 5 and shut down when you get home from work and get paid every 2 weeks and get a paid vacation and holidays. And, it's really created significant battles in my household. So I actually have a different testimony that I'll save for when I'm walking across stage as a platinum, which is going to be very interesting. But no, it's not. For me, it's absolutely. I've been self-employed for the last 13 years, starting out a financial services business from scratch. That company that I worked for taught me how to build a business in an intangible product. So it just so happened to revolve around financial services, but the most important lesson I learned was how to build a business in general and making contacts and being a part of society and adding value to your community and just seeing and being seen was the concept. And that's a transferable skill that's followed me my entire life. It's why people try and recruit me constantly to join their organizations, but I have no interest because you can't offer me anything more than what I have right now. So for me, I teach this stuff to my organization and people that I meet by promoting webinars and trainings like this because this is the truth here. And although I might feel that a job may have its place while you're working on your bigger picture, security, there's something to say for a certain degree of security. I believe you take a risk in anything that you do, whether you follow the old system, which is proven to fail, or you follow this new age system of self-employment and entrepreneurship. So you got to pick your poison, and you just got to know who you are as a person, and don't let anybody else sway you that doesn't understand what we're about. So we've got something here. So I hope that was helpful. I appreciate you letting me share. Back to you.
Yeah, that's great, CJ. I came from the same kind of family as you did, who are all union workers, blue collar. I believe my father probably never earned more than maybe $35,000 a year my whole life. So I come from a small town, and those surroundings I was in would keep me at a certain level of thinking, and I broke out. I moved out when I was 18, and I didn't know what I was doing or why I was doing it, but I knew I was separating from a mindset. I mean, I didn't get that at the time, but I saw other potential. I saw bigger things, and for some reason, that mindset didn't stay with me, but it talks to me every once in a while, let me tell you. So it is a choice on a daily basis to move forward and to do the things that are necessary. But let's thank you for your comments, and let's go over to Katie Huff out in Montana to see how she can relate to what we learned today.
Good morning, ShieldNation family. It's a blessing to be on the phone, and this, I think, is one of the biggest obstacles, I think, as a company and even as a human race we have to deal with is how we obviously see ourselves. And a couple of things that come to my mind is Robert Kiyosaki had the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is, I think, one of the most amazing books because, of course, there was two dads, and the poor dad was the one that got the master's degree, worked 40 years for the same company, got a $40 watch at retirement, and had 2 weeks off, and that was what he got by the education. And I'm not saying don't have an education because, of course, I have my bachelor's degree in nursing. However, the rich dad was the one that had, multiple assets and businesses that obviously were producing like we would with all of our different associates that we bring in or different accounts that we service and the different families that we provide these services with. So we have multiple income within our organization. So that book is, I think, one of the greatest ones to really open our eyes to being an entrepreneur. But the other thing is it's interesting because yesterday I was just talking to one of my associates that, says, I know what I need to do. I need to do this. And it's like, okay, so if you know all what you need to do, then what is stopping you? Because there's obviously something that is in our way. And so the point is that we either believe in the company, and I mean, how could you not with our record? We believe, have to have belief in our services, which if you've used them, then obviously you know that they work. Or the third area, obviously, is believe in ourselves. And that's where I think our limiting beliefs are impacting our ability to have the life of abundance that God wants us to have, that stops us from, all of the things that I believe, which is that, God declares that He wants us to have hope in a future, and He's not here to hold us back and harm us, and that we are to have abundance and prosperity. But do we truly believe in ourselves and having that? And so I know that that's why when you look at your habits book, Darcy, which is so phenomenal, where it literally talks about doing those 20 affirmations, setting yourself up, setting your mind up, the activity is easy a lot of times to accomplish, but that thought in your head, I always tell people, I don't know who you're listening to or what station your mind is set on, but you need to change that station and start believing that you are a child of God and that you deserve the best and abundance and prosperity, and that if you keep planting those seeds and continually doing those activities, then you will have that harvest. And you are so eloquent about the field and planting the seeds in the time of harvest is just knowing that people have to trust that process and trust that they deserve to have abundance. And I love this because this, I think, is one of the greatest and biggest obstacles we have in our company and across actually even our country, is knowing the truth that we deserve abundance. So I'll send it back to you, and I just want everyone, obviously, to have a happy Valentine's Day this weekend and a blessed weekend.
Thank you. I forgot about Valentine's Day. Good mention. But wow, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. Oh my goodness, that is a perfect example. And the two went two different roads, and the difference between those, and just reading that book and how he gets you to think. Remember when he's putting the cans on the shelf and he thinks it's just so dumb. I can't believe this. Why did he have me do this job? And he was teaching him so much. And that when he was 10 years old, I love that book, and how he needed to, just realize there was opportunity even in that little job with the little the books he sold. I forget what they're called. Anyways, he saw magazines and he sold them, and for like 10 cents, whatever. But thank you, Katie. Those are great comments. And let's go to Steve Hales. You're out there, and this would probably be a really good example. And then hang on, everyone. We're going to do a little polling after this because I need to get some feedback from you. So after Steve, we're going to start a poll, Trish. But let's go to Steve Hales right now.
You got it. The spokesperson for this webinar, that's me. And I believe it was comic books that he was renting to his friends in Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes.
So personally, I've been thinking a lot lately about success, and I've been asking people on the street, what do you see, how do you, what is success to you, if I can figure out the right words to say. You know, is success working 40, 50 years in a job and retiring? You know, when you think of successful people, is that what comes to mind? And nobody says yes. Nobody thinks that just because you retired from a job, you're successful. And if we look at piggybacking on CJ's comment, if we look at everything that's going on in society, pensions are now questionable. People don't know if they're going to get their pensions or continue to get their pensions. They're not going to get Social Security. So everything is a risk. So that being said, let me pull back into myself and, that little kitten looking in the mirror. 5 years ago, I never would have been able to sit down with a huge broker and have an eyeball-to-eyeball conversation and just talk about how we can implement Legal Shield into their business. And, just bringing that lion out of me, that's, I owe that to you, Darcy, and to Miles Monroe. Great things that I put into my mind and into my head, in the books and the DVDs and the CDs, and just listening to good things and reading good things. So I don't quite remember where I was going with that, but all the success that I've had lately is because somebody saw the lion in me, and somebody taught me how to see it in myself. So I just wanted to make that comment, and great webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and absolutely, here is the principle I live by. When I met Steve Hales or any associate, my biggest question is, who is inside there? I call it treasure hunting, but I'm like, literally, when I meet a person, this is not a what do you call, it's just my own reality. It's everyone I meet. I know, I don't guess, I don't know, wonder, I don't try to make somebody important. I literally know they are. They are important. They are valuable because I know who made them. And so inside my head, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, all right, Lord, teach me who this person is. And I don't care when I meet a person what they've done in their past. I don't care what their track record is. I'm not attached to that information. I am only attached to one thing. What was their purpose? What was in the mind of the maker of the person that is in front of me? And what can I do to serve that person in front of me and pull out the truth about them? That is literally my function in life, to introduce someone, everyone I meet, to their God-purposed self. And so that is like what I live for. That is what I was born for. And I know when I meet people, and one of the things is when I could tell you so many stories, but when I work with people in every kind of facet of whether it's Legal Shield or other areas of life, and they come to me like it reminds me of the stone Michelangelo got that was tossed to the side. It was on the side of the road, covered in dirt. No one was interested in this big piece of stone. So Michelangelo walks past the big piece of stone, looks at it, and he sees inside the stone the statue of David, which is one of the greatest, most unbelievably famous, perfection statues in the world. And what he said is when he looked at it, he had to take away everything in the stone that was not David. So think about that. You come up to this piece of big stone, it's covered in dirt and junk, and it's crooked and it's jagged, because actually what happened was two sculptors had tried to make the statue previously to Michelangelo, and they couldn't. It broke the stone, and it was kind of a mess. It was all jagged, and it was deformed, and so he sees it, but he sees it differently through a different set of eyes. So when I meet a person, I am not seeing the outside deformed stone. I am seeing the inside statue of David, literally, in my head. So I speak to what they are purposed to be, and it's calling things that are not as though they were. It's calling out of an associate what is truly in that associate that they haven't even met themselves, if you can understand that. And so I don't buy into their stuff. I don't buy into their stuff. They buy into their stuff, possibly. Their family, their friends, their environment is feeding them that they are the thing that were told. But our job as coaches and developers of people is to say, no, let me tell you who you really are, and speak to the lion within, to the leader within, to the king within the person. Everyone was made to succeed. So let's pull up the first poll, because what I want to do is I really am dedicated to bringing webinars to a certain need in the marketplace. So I just want to look at where you're at on your needs out there in the marketplace for what you would like a webinar to be. What do we need that Legal Shield's not providing? And if this webinar is really, I just need to know the purpose of the thing, literally, even a Friday webinar. What is the Miles Monroe taught, if you don't know the purpose of a thing, you'll abuse it. In other words, we don't want to do a Sunday conference call with ShieldNation. We don't want to do a Friday webinar if it's not necessary. Everything needs to be done for a purpose, for a value. And so what is the value of the Friday webinars that maybe isn't in anything else? And so we want to continue operating with that purpose in mind. So pull up the first poll, Trish, and if everybody could attend to their screen right now. And the first question is, I get on Friday webinars for sales skills, leadership skills, networking skills, team building skills, or personal development. What is your purpose? Why are you on this Friday webinar every week? And Trish, tell me when you're at 75% or higher, and tell me what the answers are. So everybody pick one of those. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want me to bring to you?
Okay, I'm
all right. Team Katie Huff, you're saying you actually like both. Yeah, I guess you're going to have to just say, if there is the highest need I have, the highest need, because I realize you really want all of those things. I just am interested in if you were to pick one. Not that we don't do all of these things on Friday webinars.
Are you ready for the results?
Yeah.
We have 8% sales skills, 33% leadership skills, 8% networking skills, 15% team building, and 38% personal development.
All right. Okay, well, leadership and personal development, you can probably throw those together. So, all right, that's what I thought. Let's go to the second question. Thank you, everyone. Sorry. I struggle most with confidence, organizational skills, recruiting people, selling the service, or building a team.
Okay, 49% confidence, 13% organization, 15% recruiting, 5% sales, and 18% team building.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know. And if you can put the letters on your paper right now, your notes, KFC. All right. So imagine KFC. The letters KFC. K stands for knowledge. F stands for fear. C stands for confidence. When you first start, imagine if I had a bar graph. Knowledge and confidence are really low on a bar graph, so they'd be really low. Fear would be really high. What we want to teach is knowledge and confidence, so they go really high and fear goes really low. So there's just an example for KFC that you can always remember. Knowledge and confidence takes away the fear, but when you first start, your lack of knowledge and confidence makes fear go high, and that would be the answer, Katie, to why they don't do, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't do it. And fear is high, and that is controlling them. That is their fear, their feeling, their emotion is ruling their life, basically. And it, you know, to have a job, to walk into a desk, to sit in a desk in a cubicle, there's not as much fear. So sometimes you move towards that. You hate it, but you move towards that because that has more comfort. And that comfort, this very strange employer self thing, and Steve Hales we've been on the phone a lot as far as what that means, and him transferring from an employee mindset to an entrepreneur mindset. You know, so that's something we need to be teaching, the confidence that you can own your own business, but it does take, I'm just trying to really make sure that I'm not duplicating what Legal Shield is providing you and all their calls, the Monday morning call, the Monday night call, the different calls everyone's on, and just provide something that is different. We can open this up afterwards, but let's go to the next poll. My greatest success in sales and recruiting comes from, now this is just a, when you go out and literally make a sale, are you doing it through PBRs, one-on-one presentations, briefings, or conference calls, meaning the PCCs? Where are your sales and where do your new recruits come from? Which one of these four is your number one way of recruiting and selling?
You're going to like this, Darcy. 95% one-on-one presentations, 3% briefings, 3% conference calls.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm just going to say it, y'all. We're family here. When I look at the new training system of Legal Shield, the first thing they tell you to do is make a list. The second thing they tell you to do is have a PBR. And I am asking you where your success comes from, sales and recruiting, and you are telling me one-on-ones, briefings, and conference calls. Well, really one-on-ones. So it is, I'm trying to reconcile how to help people when the very other thing that is not producing success for you is being told. So that is why we need to think, everyone, family, listen to me, think about you, think about what works for you, and when you hear the river, the hose of this is how you do it, this is how you do it coming at you, you have to ask yourself, is that what works for me? Because I can tell you, we have a tracking system that is so solid and so unbelievable that literally the Knoxville team has totally adopted it, and they're blowing and going. They're literally knocking it out of the walls. I mean, it is unbelievable how not just one, not just two, not just three, not just four, not just five, tons of people are breaking ED and having great success and consistent and phenomenal and productive inside of this little tiny town that we developed this model around the ShieldNation model. But other areas that are all over the country that are getting the fire hose of information of this is how you do it. And in the last 4 years, let's say 5 years that we really have been teaching y'all what we do, there has been probably 4 different times in the last 5 years a tracking system introduced. Do it this way. Here's the tracking system. I can remember like 4 years ago at a conference, and they had all these pieces of paper, and I can remember John Beltry. You guys were so confused. What do I do? Because this is what everyone's doing at the briefings. You're all using this new piece of paper and this new tracking thing. I think it was used for maybe 3 months to 6 months, and it disappeared. Then Brian came out with another one that, you know, a PBR was 4 points, and something was 3 points, and something else was 2 points. And he had this whole thing he introduced at a conference about a year later, and that was what all I do is look at that and I say, no, no, and no, because it just complicates. It takes you away from the system we've used for 25 years. We've never changed it because it's absolutely phenomenal. And when you have something great, simple, and systematic, the top prospect sheet, the PDA, the Wealth Builders tracking form, you literally cannot it's just so basic that you kind of buy into this new, magic dust stuff, but it fades away. I call it shooting stars. It shoots out like a star, and then it fades away and you wasted all your time. Talk about lack of production, but wow. One-on-ones. Okay, let's go to the next question. I can find what I need in the Legal Shield back office, yes or no? We get calls all the time to support, and where is this, where's this? I just want to know, is this a big issue out there? Let's say you wanted to find, are you having trouble finding whatever you need to do, whether it be a PowerPoint or a document? Yes or no? Okay, Trish, you waiting for everybody to answer?
Okay, 43% yes, they do feel overwhelmed. 58% no.
I can find what I need in the Legal Shield back office. How many said yes?
43% yes.
43 and 57% no?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Oh, that's higher. Good, 43%. Well, okay, now I'm just going to go right to the next question. I use the ShieldNation website a little, a lot, or never?
Darcy, the question was, I feel overwhelmed with all the events, calls, and webinars done by Legal Shield.
Oh, that was, sorry. I feel overwhelmed with all the events, calls, and webinars done by Legal Shield. Yes and no. Okay. Oh, no, 57% are not overwhelmed by all the stuff. Okay, right. Well, that's good. That's super good. Okay. Okay, awesome. 43, that's still too many to feel. And what I mean by that is, like, if you literally were going to get on every call, you'd have a 10-hour work week in just webinars and calls for all the massive things going on all over. So you have to pick, everyone. You have to pick what fits you, and it's okay that you're not in everything. You need to be remembering this principle about that particular decision for you. What will make me more productive? What will help me bring more value to the community and be more fruitful? And the answer to that question are the things that you engage with. End of story. All right, so this is about you becoming the best you possible. Number 5, I can find what I need in the Legal Shield back office, yes or no?
%51% yes, 49% no.
All right, and the next question, I'll comment about that. ShieldNation website. ShieldNation website, what does it say? I just got a call that interrupted my phone.
I use the ShieldNation website.
Oh yeah, do you use it a little, a lot, or never?
Never.
Okay. And this is for the what to bring to a presentation, this is for the commission calculator, this is for the what's new, this is for documents, this is for the training system, getting someone started. Do you use it a little, a lot, or never?
Okay, we have 57% a little, 40% a lot, 2% never.
Okay, all right. Well, the reason for we had a meeting yesterday, and the purpose of the ShieldNation website is to make that, let's say there's top 20 things that are in the back office that you need access to. Whatever those top 20 things are, we want to bring those out of the back office. Let's say they're documents. Like if you go to the new what to bring to a presentation and you start a person and they said, I don't know what to bring to a presentation. You can just say, go to ShieldNation, go to what to bring, look at, is it a broker, is it an agent, is it a recruit, is it a consumer, is it a small business, and boom, there are all the products that Legal Shield offers, all the and we added a few in some of the areas, but it's basically the Legal Shield products, the consumer folder plus the Legal Shield, flat sheets that are all organized. I mean, literally everything you would need to walk into a small business or walk into a group presentation or an enrollment. And so it's just taking the time away from you if you know how to use it effectively. So in other words, when someone calls me and says, what do I take to a small business presentation, I'm not going to spend 15 minutes with that person. I'm going to send them to a system that shows them exactly in picture form, in visual form, which they can actually print that out if they don't have those products in stock at their office, home office. They're literally equipped and empowered to print then click, print, present. And they can click the presentation they're going to do, they can print it out, they can present, and they're empowered to go out there and then prosper. So this is what the purpose of ShieldNation is, basically taking the top things used in Legal Shield, let's say there's 100 ideas in Legal Shield, but 10 of them are the very top, most prosperous, most productive ways to do the business. We want to simplify, bring it into ShieldNation so it isn't just an overwhelming, taking me, a new person, you recruit me, I go into the back office and I think I need to read everything back there. I need to know about everything. And then now I have become I'm getting a PhD in Legal Shield, but I haven't sold one product. I haven't recruited one person. That is the flip side of showing everything to somebody. So we are trying to streamline the machine that actually produces based on information from y'all of what is actually working. So the Knoxville team uses what to bring. You can see what they bring, see what they use. We give you all it's literally like a franchise. You can go to it, you sell a franchise, which is an associate position, and then they go and they lock into the special sauce for each different division is right there, boom. The commission calculator is absolutely the most important thing you could probably use with every meeting with anybody looking at the business, so they can calculate the potential for, that's a pro forma, basically, the commission calculator. So that we are using all the time. But whatever's the what's new at the very bottom of that first page is kind of the hottest things going. And that's what, so we just wanted that feedback. But that's a lot higher than I thought, people finding things in the back office. I can never find anything in the back office. So good for you all. Redo the question. Katie, what question are you talking about? Are you out there, Katie? You say redo that question. Which one? She might not be out there. Oh, you there, Katie?
It's Trish. We can't redo it. Once it's closed, it's closed.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, which one are you talking about, Katie? Any comments about what you just voted on? I want your input as well. So open up the lines for that so I know how we can serve you better. Go ahead, Katie. Anyone out there? Trish, are you trying to get them unlocked?
Yes, I am. Hold on.
Okay.
Something about it was a yes, no, and it was a PBR, or it wasn't clear, is all I'm saying, because what you had mentioned versus what was on the screen was different.
The question being, my greatest success in sales and recruiting comes from doing a one-on-one presentation. Not that one?
Not that one. Nope.
Oh, I think it was.
Where you had said, I can't find anything in the back office, but the question read that they were overwhelmed by the webinars, calls, and meetings.
And I would have said absolutely yes, but I answered no, I can't always find things in the back office. Does that make sense? Can you find anything in the back office? And I was just like, no, not all the time, because they've switched over from the old hub site to the new one. So it's a nuance of trying to figure it out. So no, I can't find it. But the question is saying, am I overwhelmed? Well, heck yeah, I am. I mean, like you said, if we were on the group call, the leadership call, the team call, the BVP call, the ED call, the CDL call, the insurance call, the broker call, there's so many calls that, like you said, there'd be a 10-hour work week of seeing the people telling the story.
Exactly.
Well,
and A confused mind does nothing. Trish, can you type that out and let's do it again?
I can't, but what we can do is ask the question and tell everybody to raise their hand if they agree with Katie, if they are overwhelmed.
And you raise your hand how?
If you look on your dashboard, you'll see a little hand. If you click it, yeah, see, everybody's raising their hand right now, Dorothy. I did also have a few comments that said, I can find stuff in the back office if I'm there for an hour, things like that. So.
Right. Yeah, we don't have an hour. Every hour is so valuable. It's my objective for us is there's a billionaire hamburger place called In-N-Out Burger. Literally 4 items are on the menu. A billionaire, everyone, a billionaire. Everybody say that word, billionaire. So we don't have to offer literally when you make a presentation, that person doesn't know that there's a new cool, slick, whatever, something that came out. We just literally laid out all of the brochures for this very, very high-end, successful family in Knoxville. They do pretty much everything they touch. They are extremely successful. They looked at all of our stuff, didn't know anything about anything, and just said the only product that they would ever use that explains everything is the consumer folder. And that is not because we created that, but that is what they said. They don't know which one came from us or came from all of what is in it for the person on the other side of your presentation. I don't really care what I think is cool or don't think is cool. You have to detach from that. Everything we do is about whether they see value for themselves, not whether you like that slick or you like this new thing or you're bored with these 3 slicks or this consumer folder is so old and you want to use something new and exciting. Don't think about you being so bored with something. Think about you always using the same thing for the next 10 years if it is working. That's where you don't get overwhelmed. You kind of unplug and you settle in to what you do, who you are, and what is working. But you don't need to move left and right. And literally with the Knoxville team, I've said don't look left and don't look right. I want you to focus on the franchise-like system, change the special sauce on a Big Mac every year. It's the same for the last 30 years. The same taste, same sauce. And that's the key, is once you get something that's working, you have to, and even if they introduce something, okay, let's say they introduce something, the fire hose is coming at you, look at this new thing, look at this new thing. We will not adopt it for quite a while until I see true proven results, because I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to change the special sauce because they're at a whim. And that's why we never changed our tracking forms and all these tracking form ideas that have come out in the last 5 years that take the team and drive them into a new system, and they all got to learn it, and nobody gets it, and it actually never brought production because it was so spur of the moment, kind of like out of nowhere. Here's an idea, let's try this. You don't want to follow, let's try this. Here's an idea. You want to follow proven track records of success that are logical and basic and giving you the impact and the performance that you're looking for. So anyways, so much to say on all that. And I'm pro, so there's a fine line between being company, yay, company, follow everything, and protecting your potential. I hope you're hearing me correctly on this call. So Katie, what you said, all those calls, it's, and then all of them say a lot of different things and say, I just feel almost, I'm going to tell you as a Platinum Club Council member, I feel overwhelmed with all those calls because they want me to do 10 more different things after that week is over. And then I feel like, oh my gosh, how do I do those 10 more different things on top of the other things I need to learn? So now I got to learn those 10 new things that I'm supposed to do on top of the other things. When really, you know what it is, folks? It is about us seeing people, telling a story, protecting a family, protecting a company, and being out there in the marketplace, where it's the most beautiful feeling in the world when we help an associate, make director and make executive director and change that Steve Hales out there and bring out that lion within and change the life of a family because they're protected. And we get those calls. That's where we soar. So simplicity is what ShieldNation is all about. Any other comments? How many hands went up, Trish, about being overwhelmed?
34 out of 55.
Okay, so anyways, we're just encouraged to do what we can to help it simplify so you can get to the documents that matter, and that's on what to bring to a presentation based on what is working in the Knoxville and how it's exploding as far as production and performance and duplication, and all of those things that matter. So we're literally setting up a franchise-like system that you access and don't have to think. So you're doing the emotional coaching and the motivation and the encouragement, but not like, oh, okay, take this, product and this one and get this one and it's, item number such and such and order this, and you don't have to go through the amount of time to spend on those details because you are too valuable. You need to be in front of people for your new person. So if you recruit me, my only job is to get you in front of people, companies and families and individuals until I can, tell me, show me, let me, grow me. Tell me what to do, show me what to do. Now I get to see you do the presentation enough until I can do it without you. Now you have moved me out into a self-producing associate. Well, that doesn't need to be calling me, but in the first 3 weeks, are you kidding me? You're on the phone every day, and whatever it takes to develop a self-producing associate. So I don't know if the lines are open for any final comments. It doesn't seem like it, and I can't see it. So we're going to close for the day. KFC, knowledge and confidence reduces fear. Thank you for your feedback. We're going to take that and remember, it's what you see in the mirror that matters, and don't go by your past, go by what you were purposed to be, and believe in that. So have a great week, you guys. We'll talk to you later.